Yay! We're
Yay!
live! It's our Sunday night Zoom. We're so excited. I am Stefani. This is Joel. And we are just so pumped to have a couple of our great friends that we have met from this business, which it's just crazy how you get into this and life just brings in the right people if you stick it long enough. And so I was just, this is kind of what happened to let you guys know why Chad and Jaree are on. And sometimes I have no rhyme or reason. I just go with what God lays into my brain, and I could not get them out of my head. And I was like, all right, fine. They have something important to share. And so it was just one of those messages. I was like, I'm just going to see, because it was a last minute, like literally today, like, can you jump on and kind of share their story? And what I love about these two, and they'll share a little bit, is, gosh, I don't know how many years ago it was, but Jaree was in a pool. It was me and Jaree and Lori, and we were just talking, and I was listening, and she was so open to share what was working in her business with me. And so a little bit about this is she's a sideline to us. So she's not in our downline. So you're going to meet people that are not in your downline, but want you to succeed so bad. We all want that. You know, we live in this abundance mentality, and those two just really believe that. And I was just shocked at just a simple thing that she shared with me, and I put it into play and it worked. And so, you know, open up and ask people and just listen to what they have to say. But she is so just giving and loving, and I love her story of who they are. And so I don't want to take much of that, but it's kind of what was laid on my heart of why I wanted them on, is because she wants you to win just as bad as we want you to win. And so Chad and Jaree, tell us a little bit about who you are, how long you've been in, and then I've got some really good questions that you guys are just going to love to hear them answer.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the introduction. My gosh, I know when I met you, it was a dash. It was my first dash, and I was just fangirling over you. So for you to ask me, little old me, nobody, like what I was doing, I was so excited just to share. And you know what I've learned in this journey? I've been in the business for 7 years now, and I feel like that it's so important in this business to share what's working and not hoard it away for yourself, because there's so many people out there, especially pertaining to social media. So if you know something's working, then share it, because God is going to bless you for being that kind of a leader and that kind of a person that is willing to see other people win and succeed. And so that was huge. So anyway, Ambassador Diamond, been in the business for almost 7 years now, which is so crazy because time really does fly when you're having fun. And so literally, when I got started, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was homeschooling my 2 younger kids, and my youngest, who's autistic, was in diapers. Chad was an active duty Army officer, and we were just, I was looking for something that I could do part-time in my spare time. And to be quite honest, I was only looking for an extra $300 to $500 a month, because we were drowning in credit card and student loan debt. When Chad decided to become an officer, he was enlisted first. He had to get his bachelor's degree, and he did most of it online, but we accrued a lot of student loan debt that way, and credit card debt, because we were trying, you know, and to be quite honest, if I'm being totally honest with you guys, we just kind of sucked with money. Like, we spent it as fast as we got it, and we, you know, had credit cards, and it was just, it was crazy. So I was looking for $300 to $500 a month, so that we could begin to start paying down some of those credit cards, and so that we could even just go on a date night without having to think twice about it. Like, we just didn't have that luxury. And so when I found It Works, we had just gotten stationed at Fort Campbell, and we knew no one. This is what I want you guys to understand. We didn't know anybody in Tennessee. And we literally started this business, and our first month in went emerald. Okay, we went emerald because we got super excited, and everybody that was around us, including, you know, Chad would take my before and after pictures and his before and after pictures, and anybody that we happened to wrap at that time to work, and ask the guys there, even the guys, like, hey, who do you know that for $25 would want to see what their results look like? And the next thing you know, Chad's bringing guys home who's then bringing their girlfriends and their wives or fiancés or whoever, and they're just lining up at my house. And here I am staying home. I don't know anybody. And you guys, what I want you to understand, because it may not seem like it right now, is that I'm a total introvert. This business has brought me out of my shell so much. I literally get filled up in the quiet. I was terrified terrified to get on calls, terrified to do this. If you told me 7 years ago I'd be getting on live Zooms in front of all these people, I would just have laughed at you and told you it would never just, it wouldn't have happened. But because of the time that we've put into this business, and because we've been constantly developing ourselves and expanding our mind and our belief, I'm a completely different person. And when I look back at who I was 7 years ago, it's like, it's crazy, because it's like night and day. But we got really blessed because we promoted fast, because we were literally ignorance on fire. And I think it was Joel maybe that coined that phrase, that it's better to be ignorance on fire than knowledge on ice. I didn't know anything about anything, you guys. Whenever we got started, all we knew was whoever wraps the most people makes the most money. I was like, okay, then I'm going to figure out a way. And our whole business in the first few months was belly to belly. I didn't know how to work Facebook. I didn't know how to do anything. And so we wrapped like over 50 people that first month, and then over 50 people that second month. That's how we were able to go emerald and then diamond, boom, boom, back to back. So can you imagine, like, some of you are like, how do you wrap that many people? Like, how do I afford it? Whenever you're signing up loyal customers and you're getting the wrap rewards, that's how we were doing it. We were just constantly, we were hustling and slinging wraps like crazy. And so we were making, $500, $800 in wrap cash. Plus we were making crazy paychecks that we weren't expecting. And then all of a sudden, so we were at like this height of everything. We were so excited. We were like, we don't know what we're doing. We're just like, wow, we're making like $2,000 a month. This is crazy. And then all of a sudden we found out that Chad was going to get deployed and that he was going to have to go to Afghanistan. And that's when life hit me in the face. And I just completely quit working my business, you guys. This is what I want you to understand. I worked my butt off for like 3 months. And then when that happened, I quit working my business. I'm just going to be honest, because we all get in funks and nobody's above that. I didn't do a thing. I didn't get on any calls. I didn't message anybody. I didn't do anything. But because of the time that I put in, I got paid several months without doing anything and continue to still get that full paycheck, diamond paycheck, based off of my efforts. And I'm not saying that that's a wise thing to do, but what I am saying, for me, that was when the light bulb went off and I realized that, holy crap, we have our hands on something crazy special. Like, I can get paid for something that I did months ago. Mm-hmm. And that's what's just insane. So I'll let you take it over, because I want you to tell them about being in Afghanistan.
Yeah. So interesting part of my story was I love the Army. I did the 15-year plan to get my 4-year college degree. That's what happens when you keep dropping out, go back for a little bit. So it took me 15 years to get my 4-year bachelor's degree. And so finally got it. And the sole purpose of me getting it was so I could become an officer in the military. So became an officer in the military, and I was excited about where I was at. And in 2012, I would have told people that they would have had to drag me from the Army kicking and screaming. But by the end of the year, I couldn't get away fast enough. And so it's crazy how life can change so fast, and you can feel like you're on this path, and then, comes into your life, and who knows, you could be on here, barely join the business, and this could be your full-time deal in a few months or a year from now. So I had no idea it was going to turn into that, but some things start happening. I was a field artillery officer. You feel like you're pretty safe in your field artillery, but a good friend of mine I went through training with, he went off on a mission, ended up leading a patrol, got blown up, and he was just had gotten married. He was a West Point football player, All-American star. And I'm thinking, man, if that could happen to him, it could happen to me too. So for the first time, I thought, this is real. I'm going to war, and the other guys want to kill me, and I don't know if I want to go through this kind of risk for the rest of my life. So that was one seed planted. The second one was we had a vacation planned to Disney. I think Ava was like, 3 or 4 at the time. She was really little. And so I got the videos sent to our house. I'm building this deal up, right? Disney World for the first time. She's watching, counting down the days with me. And then like 2 weeks out, I get called into my commander's office, and he says, I hate to do this to you, but we have some extra training we have to do before deployment. We're canceling leave. You can't go until after deployment. And I'm like, that's crazy. How does this happen, right? And so it wasn't a big deal that I had to change the plans. It was just a big deal I had to tell my kids, which they didn't understand because they're little, and they're like, what do you mean? We were counting down the days we're supposed to go. So that was like strike 2. And like Jaree mentioned, when I did deploy, I was 7,300 miles away, and my job was to lead 6 guys, and we traveled to 3 different locations to train the Afghan army how to use their artillery, because they had no clue, didn't even know how to read a map when we got there. And so I'm bouncing around from location to location, flying in a lot of helicopters, and we'd always have to go through this airport in Bagram. And so I'm in the airport, and they have Wi-Fi in the airport. So I'm in the airport, waiting on my flight to go back, and Jaree posts that she's like freaking out because she's rushing our son to the emergency room because he's literally having an internal hemorrhaging. And in the post, she says he's bleeding out faster than they can put the transfusion into him. Please pray. It doesn't look good. And that's like what I'm reading about my own family. And I'm 7,300 miles from home. So obviously I wanted to go right home. And, you know, I couldn't. The Army actually said I had to fly the wrong direction to another airport, turn in my weapon, fill out paperwork. So it literally took me about 2 days to get back to the airport I was in when I read this thing. So I'm frustrated. And I had all this long flight home. And basically on the way home, I mentally retired from the military. And so I got home on December 24th. So we got to celebrate, you know, and everything worked out fine with the surgery. It was great. And then because I was home, I was able to go to our first conference that very next month. And so here Jaree and I are. She'd been Diamond for a few months. I actually made a mathematical error. So I had been Emerald, but was paid that month as an executive because I made the wrong BV order. That's like 6 BV. So I'm like executive going, oh my gosh, what are we doing? But we sat there and we got to see the big picture. I love when Jim Rohn says that from testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude that it's possible to design and live an extraordinary life. I had no doubt about that. When I went to our first conference, by the time we left, I knew for sure in my knowing of my knower that we could walk out of there and go from Diamond to Triple and beyond because we met so many different people who had done it already. And so at that point, we had the faith. You know, we had the download of faith. We came home, worked our butts off for 101 days, and we've always been able to point back to that because we more than tripled my military income in that 100 days.
Quadrupled it.
Yeah, and it's never gone less than that. So in the Army, I grind for years to try and get to 6 figures, and that didn't quite get there. And then our first full year in It Works, we did multiple 6 figures, and we've always had multiple 6 figures since. So it just shows you how fast your life can completely, totally change in just 1 year of really embracing this whole process.
Well, and you know what's crazy too, because when we went to that first conference, I remember like that's when my belief went through the roof because here I am so introverted trying to figure out, I was just starting to learn social media. And I just thought, I don't know how I'm ever going to be one of those people because Chad had dabbled around in other network marketing companies and they really had to be kind of flashy. Like, I'm sorry, but it wasn't my style. It was really, really flashy. They dressed up in suits. They were slick talkers. And it was never going to be me. And so I kind of had that preconceived notion that that's exactly how this was going to be. So when I went, my mind was blown away when I saw women walking across the stage as the top 100. As they talked in the microphone, their hands were shaking like mine would be shaking. And I just thought to myself, surely enough, if they're worthy of this, then I'm worthy of it. Because you guys, what you don't know, maybe a lot of you might know this, but some of you may not know, is that I had a lot of things stacked against me. When It Works, when I started promoting and things started getting crazy and It Works, and I was given a platform, it was like, it wasn't just really cool to be a presidential diamond and be on stage. It was like, oh my gosh, I felt so unworthy my whole life because I'm a victim of sexual abuse. I was sexually abused as a child, and I dropped out of high school my junior year because I have a learning disability, and I did a lot of drugs, and I used alcohol to medicate my painful past. I dated horrible guys. I was in horrible relationships, so abusive, both physically and verbally, and I had no self-worth, zero, none. And so even though I had gotten saved before we got into It Works and I'd found the Lord and God had me on this journey of just rediscovering who I am in Him, right? Because we believe what we believe about ourselves based on what we've gone through. But it isn't until you have that moment where you get to know Jesus and understand how God really views you. And so I was on this journey. And then all of a sudden, we got elevated in the company and it was like, holy crap, like, why would God use me? Like, why? Who am I? But what I realized is that when I started to open my mouth and I started to share my story about how I'm no longer No longer am I a victim. No longer, because when you get freed and healing in those areas, your job is to shout it from the rooftops because God gets the glory then. So what I love is that we are a part of a company, you guys, that they encourage you to share your testimony. We encourage you when you're writing your posts and you're talking about things on Facebook to dig deep and to really, really unveil the things in your life. I mean, I'm not telling you that if you're not ready to go share about something, deep, dark secret in your life, then don't do that. But as God prompts you to be more and more transparent and more vulnerable, I'm telling you, that's where your business is. You're really going to begin to connect with people on a deeper level. I can't tell you, I share my story all the time, and some people might get tired of hearing it, but I've learned how to be a good storyteller, and I tell my story in many different ways because I know that my story is going to be hope for somebody else that's out there, because I know I'm not the only woman that felt like I was so messed up that God wasn't going to be able to use me. I never thought in a million years that God was going to elevate us to the level that we are in a company and then give us the platform that he has. But the only reason he's done that is because we've been faithful to share and show how God has actively worked in our lives and changed us. So anyway.
I love that, because that's really what I wanted, people to know on this Zoom tonight, is especially new people, or, even people that may be in and they're just finally ready. It's like, where do you start? And, the thing to do is start. And that's one of the, I look back and can go the same thing. I wish I would have, I didn't have a mentor saying, share your story right away. We didn't really know what we were doing. But I remember thinking the moment that I started sharing our story, talking about, I still have the food menus, guys, of where we went for the free food at the food lines. And there's people out there that need to hear that. And then there's people that need to also hear, people have been lawyers and left that job for the freedom. So everybody's story is different, so that we can, as we're talking to people, share their stories. And so making sure Jaree is such a great, like she said, a great storyteller. And how you do that is practice. She didn't come off the gate like, oh my gosh, here's my story. And, I think the best thing I know for both of us as couples is our story keeps changing. And you get to decide today, here's my story, but where are you going? And having the people surrounding you to make your story a positive. Like, you can turn, like she just said, something that might have been a horrible situation to go, look at how powerful Jaree is. She is so strong. She speaks life over people, and she puts both of them put themselves around the right people. And that's something I've always seen you guys do. I can see the books behind you, Chad, that you are constantly feeding your minds with the right things. And as new people are coming on, how important is that to feed your mind with the right things? Did you have something to say?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was like, Joel's like, you can feel that.
It's one of those things where, okay, so your struggle becomes your story. And then as you share your story, it becomes your strength and your ability to connect with other people. So for all of you that are on here, I mean, there's 500 plus people watching this live right now, and then there's going to be thousands that watch the replay. So the number of people that are watching this, there's a huge chance that there are other people out there going through what you're going through, or who have went through what you went through. And now you get to be that shining light of hope that says, look, I was where you were, and I made it to the other side, and you can too. And so like Jaree was saying, the moment that you have that prompting to start sharing that, that's when this becomes more than just about your team, because your story is going to impact thousands of lives, and you're going to change thousands of lives. And you're not going to know who those lives are until you get to an event and someone sees you and they're like, oh my gosh, that one Zoom that I watched, that replay Zoom that I watched changed my life. Not only did it change my life, it changed my business, and now I'm impacting other people. So you don't know until you get that story out there, what it's going to do for your business.
Well, and before I jump to Chad, I know that sometimes as a new person, we're like, where do we start? You know, well, who are you? What is your age? Are you a mom? Like, what are those? And I think Jaree, listening to your story, you got in it for the reps. It worked. Yep. And so being a product of the product is a huge thing that you're going to constantly hear a lot of the leaders say, because if you have a before and after picture personally, you're going to get customers and distributors, right? I think that, would you suggest that? So give me a little, like, what you would do to create your story.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, the reason why I feel like we were successful so fast is because we fell in love with the products. We were customers first. We used the product, used the wrap one time, and I had such incredible results that I literally, like, for me, it was a no-brainer. I signed up on the spot, became a distributor, and I knew I could at least get that free product credit. And so becoming a product of the product. But here's a tip, you guys, because this is what I've been doing with my team. And I think I might have gotten this from Jade Hooper. I think it was her, but I could be wrong. But this is what I have my newbies do, because nobody really knows what to post about. And you're like, well, you know, because we want them to start posting immediately what the business is going to do for them. Mm-hmm. Number one, so that they are starting to believe it themselves, but also then they're painting a picture for the people that are watching them on social media. And so what I have my newbies do is I have them make a list of 10 things, 5 to 10 things that they would do with an extra $100 a month, 5 to 10 things that they would do with an extra $500 a month, and 5 to 10 things they would do with an extra $1,000 a month. And so let's say they do 10 of each. That's 30 things that they just wrote out that they thought of. Now they have 30 posts. That's 30 days worth of lifestyle posts that they can make. And they touch on each one of those things. And what I have them do is just ask them to really connect with the emotion of it. So if one of them is, you know, pay off, build college tuition, savings for college for my kids, then talk about how you're going to feel when you're able to pay cash for your kids' tuition and they don't have to incur a bunch of student loan debt. Like, connect with the emotion of everything that you're writing down and make a couple paragraph post about it. And if you can evoke an emotion into your audience, whether you're brand new or you've been in for 5 years, that's the whole point. You have to get really, really good at telling a story about whatever that little topic is that you have. But that's what has been working really well.
Well, and gosh, a great question, even, for interaction, the conversation starter, guys, is what would you do to post this on your Facebook or Instagram? What would you do with the extra $500? People love to tell you what they're going to do with that money. If I gave you $500 right now, what would you do with it? People will tell you what they would do it. So that's a great conversation to go back and follow up with them and maybe do the post that I'll share that Jaree sent me of, okay, now you're watching this person, and now what a great intro to inbox this person. So I'll save this for a little bit.
I'm excited because this post is like gold. Just saying.
It's different. I love it because it's different wording than what I would do, but I want to use it because we just never know what will trigger for somebody. So it is great. So, Chad, people come into this, not like Jaree said, I was the same way. Don't get me on stage. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm good at I love people. And I know Jaree does too. We have a heart that we want to help people, but we didn't envision ourselves like necessarily being speakers and like, yay, we get to go on stage. Like, this is whatever. I didn't do that. I was in I need money to survive mode. And so the mindset, Joel and Chad were
just so you guys know, Chad's my personal development buddy.
Yes. So, I think, Gal, you guys that are on here new, or maybe you're finally ready and your ears are open to accept it and to listen, what would you say? Why is it important for mindset? And is this something that you truly can develop?
Well, I think John Wooden says it's what you learn after you know it all that really counts. And for most of the world, we learn the minimum we have to learn to get through high school, to get through college, and then we're like out of learning phase. We're like, nope, we're good now. We've got plenty. But what I've learned, and every single wealthy person I've ever studied, what they've learned is that we have to continue to learn. We have to continue to learn. It's a never-ending process because the book you don't read can't help.
Right.
And so we have to read the books. We have to have the relationships. We have to sit down. Someone one time said, what you don't know can't hurt you. And that's just so stupid, because what you don't know can kill you, right? What you're eating can lead you to dying from a heart attack until you learn, until you know. And so knowledge really is power. And so having a personal development and intentional growth plan is so, so important to do. And that's why I think it's really, really important that every single person spends 10 minutes a day listening to an audio, or 10 pages a day that you're reading of a book, because that's, just 1/3 of 1%. If we're talking math, 1/3 of 1% a day. Well, every year you're 100% changed. After 5 years, you don't recognize who you were 5 years ago. And that's where we all should be heading, because part of the passion of life that gets unlocked is in the learning and in the growing and learning the new things. You never know what's going to be the next thing you learn that's just going to be a life changer. The next tip that we unlock that can change our whole entire business. And so I love to read. Didn't always love to read, but I love to read and I love to listen to things. And I know that it's so, so important.
And now for a shameless plug. Chad also likes to write. So you should all go pick up Chad's book called Finding Happy, 10 Keys to Living an Extraordinary Life. So if you want the 10 keys to living an extraordinary life, you should probably go get this book. Chad, where can they find your book?
Well, Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, it's on Audible now. So however you get your Audibles, you can get it there. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it all over the internet. So it's something that you can see, guys, behind them. It's not like we're saying, oh my gosh, you have to be, all in and just read like 10 hours a day or something ridiculous. But, really pay attention. You joined this business for a reason. Most people, it's for a couple extra $100. Maybe you hit that goal and you want more. Like, we don't want you to stop, but getting that mind right and believing it, because with this business, it's a people business and people suck. And so they're going to be mean. They're going to say some things that, can take you off that road that you're just, you're so excited. I just joined and I'm going to get my customers. And then you message somebody or you post something and it's like, they're so mean. I'm like, why are people so mean? Like, why don't you want to be happy for someone? I just don't understand that. Like, it's miserable for them. Just choose to not accept it, block and delete, and move on. But you have to have the mindset to understand it's going to happen all the time. It doesn't go away. I wish I could say it does. But what I can tell you is, from being around people that speak positive, I listen to the right things and believe the things that I believe that I can make a difference. And so that's a crucial part of this business is reading, getting that knowledge, and, still being excited about it. That, what's the fire, ignorance on fire, whatever that saying. I should know this. Jill says it all the time, but, I do believe in that. But I also know that I've been hit with, just recently I didn't catch it on time, and it was an awful post, and this person doesn't really know who I am, and they don't know who you are when they're attacking you. So don't feel like you can't get through that, because every top leader goes through the same things.
Mm-hmm. And normally the reason why they're attacking you is because whatever you have done has touched a sore spot in their life. And the only way they know to protect themselves is to project that fear that they have in themselves onto you and try to bring you down so that they can feel good that you're not outgrowing them.
Mm-hmm. And so, looking at this business, it's quite simple what we do. We get paid to sign customers and sign distributors. So the best thing to do is create that story. Like Chad and Jaree said, it's hard because you want to say, you have such a great story, but it's a tough story when you hear about your son. Like, it just, as a mom, knowing that your child is bleeding out, like, I don't want to say that's a good story, but that's what they walked through, and it's relatable. And like, I love that Jaree said, we're not flashy people. We have great bank accounts, but we're still the same people. And that's what It Works stands for. And I know as couples, we both are so proud to be part of a company that has that integrity and the loyalty and the right people leading you guys, because that's what we want in this business. But you know, some of the things I think as a new distributor, what would you, Jaree, recommend them do? Like, I know there's a few things for me. It's like, make sure that you stay tuned every Sunday night. It really, you know, sets you up for the week. That's a mindset thing. So what are some things that you guys think, Gal, you know, looking back, if I would have just done this quicker, what would you recommend?
Yeah, definitely plugging in. Like, you want to stay close to the fire. That's what Chad always says, and it's so true. So getting to events anytime they're local, getting on calls, making sure that you're just around people that are going to keep your little spark ignited, and then just doing the things that are going to make you money. You guys, I know, Stephanie, because we've had these conversations, so I know I can say it, but messaging is the lifeblood of your business. Reaching out and talking to new people every single day and offering them what you have, whether it's they either want to get skinny or they want to make money. You know, everybody wants to do both, and it's just a matter of time. And what I love about messaging is that the algorithms change so much on Facebook and Instagram, but the one algorithm that never changes is messaging. When you are sending that message, you're planting a seed. Our job is to plant the seed and trust God to grow the trees. And so your job is not to collect yeses. Your job is to collect decisions, whether it's a yes or a no or a not right now. Because at the end of the day, those people that are maybe even ghosting you in Messenger after you send them a message, I promise you, they might have ghosted you on there, but they just went to your profile and they're looking through all the content that you have there, both on Facebook and Instagram. Like, so whenever you send out a message and it's sitting there, don't think that it doesn't go unnoticed. Even if they don't look at it, just the fact that you sent them something, they're going to your profile. And so this is so incredibly important. I feel like you've got to be adding new people to your network every single day, and you need to be messaging every single day. I wish I would have brought my Facebook friends list, but if you guys need guidance, like I'm so red and driven, but I have very little green and I'm not organized. So when I printed out my Facebook friends list and I've got them, you guys, I'm going through starting in the A's, and I'm realizing that I literally have people from 5, 6, 7 years ago that I became friends with the intention of trying to recruit them into my business because I thought I saw something in them, and I never freaking message them. And I don't see anything about them ever on my timeline, so I know they don't see me. And so on my newsfeed, and so I'm going through and I'm messaging every single person. And you know what's crazy? When you print off your Facebook friends list, literally it tells you the date that you became friends. I think it's at least the year, if not the month and the year. And so I'm able to go back in there and be like, hey girl, we've been friends for 3 years. Why haven't you joined my team yet? And they feel so bad about not knowing who I am too. And when they realize that we've been friends for 3 years and never had a conversation, it's like, it's not an awkward thing. They're like, hey, what do you do? Like, it just creates this. And then you can use your friends list to get host to post going. We do tons of those. We teach our newbies to do that. But it's just about going in for the ask. If I learned anything from Stefani Dunn, it's just to take action and ask people, like, let them know what you have to offer. Give them choices of things. Some of my favorite scripts are just where you go in and say, hey, I think you're super sweet, and I know this is random, but I need 2 more product models to try, grow their, hair, skin, and nails. And you just give them different things where they can choose something. And then you can sign customers from that. It just starts the conversation. And so I feel like so many of us are just scared. We're scared of rejection. We're living life through a filter of brokenness. And trust me, you guys, I've been there. I've lived my life through that filter of brokenness and afraid of what people are going to think of me and afraid of being rejected and just living in fear so much. But when you realize what you have your hands on, when you realize that you have a vehicle that God has given you, this incredible business, it's not just for you to change your life. It's for other people. It's for that single mom that is on her knees praying right now for something because something's got to give and she can't continue to go on like that. It's for that person that you felt like you should have blitzed or you should have talked to that was your server and you didn't do it and you robbed them of a blessing because you were too scared. I'm telling you guys, this is so much bigger than just you. This is something that can change not only the course of your life, but so many other people. And it is your job It is necessary for you to open your mouth and let people know what you have to offer, because
that person that you're afraid to is the next diamond that you could have had on your team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, it's so, so true. So anyway, if I could just leave you with that, you guys, if some of you are feeling unworthy, some of you are fearful, some of you are like me and you have a crazy background like me, and it's so easy to be under a cloud of shame and guilt and feel like, how is God even going to use this mess?
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, he used my mess. And I wasn't fully have arrived when I joined at work. So I was still a hot mess, and there, you can attest to it. There are still days that I am still a hot mess. You know, it just happens. But to those of you that have just been, you know, scared, God did not give you a spirit of fear. Mm-hmm. He gave you a spirit that is bold, that will go out there and go after things. And he wants nothing more than to put money into his people's hands that he can trust. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be one of those people that he can trust, that will be more, that'll do more, that'll give more? I believe you can be. Mm-hmm. Do you believe you can be?
Mm-hmm. I got to share an aha real quick that I had last night, because this I just was reminded of this. So some of you probably heard of the show Shark Tank, right? I like to watch it once in a while and hear what's going on. So this guy yesterday, he brings on this thing. I think it was yesterday, the day before. It's you know how some people have pets and they put those little pads around where the animal can pee or poop on them, right? Well, this guy came in and he has this thing. You buy the machine for like $150, and then you put the poop pad thing roll on there. And then when the dog or the cat poops on it or pees on it.
Where is this going?
You get there. You push the button and it spins it in and it wraps the poop up in there. So you don't have to like change it as often. And I think you can do like they can go on it like 45 times. And they're selling these things like hotcakes, right? And you're paying like $150 for the poop thing. And then you're paying like $20 a month or whatever for the new roll and all this kind of stuff. And I'm watching this, and these guys are so excited about it. They're like, we're going to sell millions of these. And I just look at that and I start thinking about our industry and like how our industry is trending up, and more and more people are joining network marketing. And I think Mark said we're up like 40% over last year or something crazy. So the statistics and the numbers prove that we're trending up, that more and more people are loving this industry and getting involved in this industry. And we know that the health and wellness is a $1 trillion industry. We know every single day more people are getting diagnosed with diabetes, and more people are finding out they have cancer than ever before in history. I've heard by 2020, 1 in 3 will be diabetic. So we know already that millions of people are going to buy health products and they're wanting to improve their health. And we know millions of people, probably 50% of every person we run into right now needs more money. Like they would say, yes, I need more. I want more money. I need more money. So we have something that most of the world needs. And all we got to do, I mean, it's just like with the poop thing, right? An animal's going to poop, and these people are willing to spend so much money on their own animal's poop. And we know they're willing to spend so much more money on their own health. I would think so.
On their own poop.
Yeah. On their own poop. Something. I mean, they should have a squatty potty by now. If not, shameless plug, get your squatty potty, right? But so my point is that we have the veil. We have the opportunity now to look behind the curtain and see a way where we can all make tons and tons. We can go out and, like Blair McFarland said, it's almost like you have a wheelbarrow and a truck, and you know where the gold's at, and all you got to do is go down there to the river and get your shovel out and start filling up the wheelbarrow, take it to the truck, dump it in the truck, fill your wheelbarrow up. And so it's like we have that opportunity right now. It's just a matter of how big of a piece of the pie do we want to get. And obviously all of you listening on here, and I'm sure you know how to get your calculator out and put like 1 million plus 1 million plus 2 million plus however many millions the Dunns have earned. And what that means, probably 100+ million their team has earned, and you guys are on their team. So it's not a matter of, is this possible to go out and make a ton of money with It Works? It's just a matter of how much do you want and what are you willing to do to go get it?
Mm-hmm. So it's such a key. It's what are you willing to do? We're all given the same 24 hours a day. And, we were just in a situation where I remember, guys, I had sweaty pits. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't know what I was doing. But I knew, like, okay, I have an opportunity here. There's got to be somebody else that feels like me. Like, they want to feel good about themselves, and why not make a couple extra $100? So, now with social media, you're behind a screen, so you shouldn't be afraid to message people or do a post. And And one of the things that we've always told our leaders is don't worry of how many likes are on your post, because people are watching it. Like Jaree said, it's kind of the behind the scenes. Now, some people just do stories and they're really good at that and they're having that interaction. But, you know, for newbies, it's trying new things and messaging and just being excited about that. And I know it's up a ways, but somebody said, I messaged so many people. You need to write down how many people have you messaged each day. Is it 50 to 100? Because if it's 5, it's not enough. Like there's days where I message that many people and it's crickets. And then there's days that I may message a few people and it's like, everybody wants it, you know? So those are, you just don't know. If it was a magic like number or day that I could tell you, I totally would, because there's plenty of people that want it.
The thing with that is you don't know what day they're going to respond. So if you only do 5 people, that's done. If you did 100 people and nobody said yes, but guess what? Friday, you didn't say anything to anybody and you have 10 people say yes. Well, that was from the work that you probably put in on Monday and Tuesday. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always show up the moment that you dig the hole. Mm-hmm. It may show up when it rains and fills up the hole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So really, guys, the kind of the topic of the Zoom is, you know, your story matters. Start creating that tonight. So some action steps that we want you to do is, you know, do you know where you're going? Do you want ruby, emerald, diamond? What is that? That's always going to be our first question. You got in, you know, go for your customers and distributors. And Jaree did a great post. And so you guys can look at that and copy that and start practicing. She gave you how to respond even. And I love that she's willing to do that for us. So making sure that you know where you're going. Do you have your story out there? And what that $100 is? Do you have a conversation starter? If I dropped $500 in your bank account tonight, what would you do with that? Like, I want to hear people's questions. So, you know, creating some excitement from that. Then now you have people that you could be like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this person, and message them. You know what? I saw your name pop up in there. I just think you'd be amazing at that. So don't forget to keep doing that and drive them crazy. I think that's a key. You know, how bad do you want this? Are you going to keep going with that? And so if you were to line up all the leaders, the top income earners of what they're doing, they've asked more, they're a product of the product. They know exactly where they're going with or without you. And that's a big thing is, you know the work that you're going to put in, but you don't know what the work that you bring on a new distributor is going to do. And don't count on them. Count on yourself to show up every single day, putting in the effort that you want, and be proud of what you put in for that day. And that's really, you know, I know as couples what we do day in and day out, because this is what we get paid to do, is help people. So it's a great thing. But I appreciate you guys. I know they gave up their leader Zoom tonight. So I appreciate you. And I see Noelle's on. I see a couple familiar faces on. And so I just love you guys so much, and so grateful for this business, because they're some of our best friends in the company, and they're not even on our team. And so, you know,
oh, they're totally on our team. Well, I'm team Chad and Jaree.
But it's a great thing that you can look at people and end up becoming some really good friends throughout this, and reaching out and just growing together. So I know that there's people on this that are going to become best friends because of this business. So we just love that. But we appreciate you guys so much. We thank you. I know I can see the things blowing up on just, you know, sometimes we just need to be reminded your story matters. Start now, start today. I had this written down. I got to find it, because I was like, this would have been a Chad thing. I figured I'd rather get up and talk about my dreams scared than live an average, mediocre life. I was awful for a long time, but I heard Bill Britt say that nobody starts great, but to be great, you must start. And so hopefully tonight you guys can, that was a Stefani Dunn quote. You guys can put that out there. It wasn't Chad or Joel. I'll say it was Stefani and Jaree's, but it's really what it is. Just get out there and start. We all, you know, started nervous and scared, but we all have a goal, and it's the same goal of moving forward. So we love you. Thank you guys so much. And then I'll get you out the Zoom, and we'll see you soon in a few weeks.
Thanks
you.
for having
Love you
us.
Hold
guys.
on. I'm going to make Joel do a
Oh,
picture.
gotta take a picture.
Everybody smile. I see smiles, so I don't need to really remind you, but
Dun, dun, dun.
I see Katrina. She's going double diamond this month. Woo woo.
Okay, are you smiling?
Yes.
Perfect.
And I see Juliet. All right. I see so many of you on. I would be on all night. But all right, guys, get ready to listen to the Sunday night call, and we'll see you again next Sunday. Have a good night.